Welcome to Sports Communications Topic 3. This is 3C Interviews, Conferences and Events. Part 9, where we continue talking about press conferences. When it comes to press conferences, there's a lot of planning. You need to ensure that the people involved are well briefed. You need to determine who the spokesperson is going to be for this particular press conference and ensure that they understand how to manage questions, how to deflect the really difficult questions. Take them back and show them your speaking notes if you're organising a press conference so that they're well aware of the difficult types of questions they can be asked and how to deal with them appropriately. There is nothing more important than doing a practical session of practice where you ask each other difficult questions and get used to how to deflect them well and critique each other. If you do that, you'll manage it well. You need to determine who's going to be at the front of the pack, how you're going to juggle people around, how you're going to work this so that everything goes really smoothly and media attention can be on the right people at the right time. You need to think about how many people are going to speak, and in many ways the fewer the better, but that helps ensure that your message remains undiluted. But you need to think about who the media may want to speak to, and if there is somebody who's a particularly key person in the process, they need to be there. Also think about your content. You need to ensure that the facts are clearly presented by whoever it is that is speaking on behalf of your organisation. You need to ensure that that person understands they only have to answer the questions that they can answer or the questions that you've worked through. If there's anything that's difficult or that's outside the area, they need to pass it to the right person. If this is about a tragic event or a bad injury, somebody missing, a death, you need to ensure that the emotional aspect of your reaction is factored in. I don't know if any of you remember the issues around Princess Diana's death in an accident, but the Buckingham Palace didn't acknowledge with the right amount of sympathy that whole issue, and because they didn't fly the flag at half-mast because Princess Diana was no longer a member of the royal family, they were seen as being cold and heartless, whereas in actual fact they were following protocol. But following protocol is not necessarily warm enough when there's been a tragedy. Everybody needs to think before they speak, have that crucial second thought to actually run through and think about fishhooks in a question, and record the session, then transcribe the tapes afterwards, A, so you've got an accurate account of what was said, but B, so you can learn from what you didn't do so well. Not about assigning blame, but about learning for next time. Equally, then there's the checklist, which is the final run through of everything. You need to have a master checklist on how you set up the room, where everything is, where all the power sockets are, who needs to be connected where, and make sure that somebody or several people even in the room have got a list of, have got a copy of the checklist, basically the run sheet for the entire time. Send the media advisory, have a copy with you so that if anybody asks any questions about that, or you tweet, whatever it is, if anybody has any questions, you've got it right there with you. Have a follow-up phone call to members of the media. That's going to need resourcing, but make sure you do that because then you're bound to get people there on the day. Assemble your media kits, make sure everything's current, everything's up to date, that you've got a copy of the press release from today in there. Make table cards so people know where they're seated. Host people to the tables if you've got people sitting, or host people to particular seats so that they feel welcomed and valuable. Have bottled water available. Generally don't have booze, but have bottled water available so that if anybody gets a dry throat, your media announcement is not drowned out by the sound of somebody choking. Have a media sign-in table so you get everybody's contact details. Even have a jar that everybody can put their business cards in. And have some kind of post-event activity, perhaps like pizza or a few nibbles, or would you like a tour of the club rooms or something like that, so that you've actually got a well-hosted experience that people are going to remember and then come back next time you do a press release.